Hello all, before we get started today I want to announce something. My Patreon. I love making these videos, but I can't keep making them at the pace that we all want me to without the support of you, my beloved fans. The link is in the description. Without further ado, let's get to the video. Big Turk. Big Turk. Big Turk. Big Turk is a chocolate bar filled with Turkish delight, which is a gelatinous fruit confectionery thing. I'm a huge fan of Turkish delight. I love the texture, the flavors, it's great. I'm not as big a fan of chocolate, but I like it well enough to say that I enjoy it. So I like chocolate. I love Turkish delight. This should be a slam dunk for Big Turk. But it's not. Why though? Well, the reason is that, for me, these two things are so not complementary that they are ultimately both ruined by being put together. If I remove the chocolate from the Turkish delight, then they are both even enjoyable on their own terms, but when confronted with them together like this, it's just completely unappetizing.
Does not taste right then.
Similarly, a design of a hub is subject to the structural designs of the game surrounding it. I'm Charles Goodrich, and in this episode of Homeworlds, we'll be continuing our look at 3D Mario games with Super Mario Sunshine's Delfino Plaza as an example of how much context matters when creating a hub. Just over 6 years after the initial release of Super Mario 64, Nintendo was up to bat again with their follow-up on GameCube. In just about as many ways as Super Mario Sunshine was similar to its predecessor, it was also very different. You still jump around open floor plan levels, but this time it's more about the unique interactions with specific elements of the levels than navigating their geometry. Once again, you still have plenty of movement options, but many of them are different with the inclusion of FLUDD. And, of course, you are still exploring a single location in depth, but rather than the magical worlds of the princess's castle, is the tropical paradise of Isle Delfino. Before we get into the hub itself, I'd like to take a little time to talk about the general aesthetic of the game as a whole for a bit of context. In case you missed it, Sunshine takes place on a tropical island that Mario and the princess are to vacation on. Upon arriving, Mario is arrested because a mysterious lookalike of his has been defacing the island with graffiti to the point where its guardian spirits have fled. Mario is sentenced to clean the island, and while doing so must find his doppelganger and retrieve the shine sprites. Things in the hub typically open up by being tied back into this story. The first 3 levels are excavated out of giant goo puddles and reached via magic paint created by Shadow Mario. Peanut Park is made available by following Shadow Mario after he kidnaps Princess Peach. Serena Beach and Pianta Village are accessed through unlocking new upgrades that are also carried by Shadow Mario. And Noki Bay is just a Mario 64 reference. To one-up Mario 64 entirely, these aren't even weird dream worlds. They're all real places elsewhere on the island with their own atmosphere and cohesive aesthetic, and oh, they're even drawn on a little in-game map, that's neato. So we have a chosen visual direction, a hub, and a collection of levels that all logically fit that aesthetic, and transition points between them that are pretty good for the most part. I'll say it right now, Delfino Plaza is a fantastic hub, and this is only a fraction of what there is to love about it. So what exactly is Delfino Plaza? Well, just like Super Mario 64, it is a spoke design. To recap, this means that it's a location that must be returned to in between each level, as those do not connect directly themselves. Typically, we want to see such a hub have many extra activities, secrets, and a strong level design due to how often the player will be returning there, and boy does the plaza ever deliver. It's a seaside commercial district with little houses, produce shops, various other buildings, a beach and lighthouse, some docks with a boat rental shop, a canal, tourist attractions, and a cannon. It's a fully realized town, at least as fully realized as the GameCube can allow, but more importantly, it's geometry for parkour. Instead of fairly empty and lifeless rooms with an entrance to a level in them, Delfino Plaza is a space that you can get around quickly by running, jumping, sliding, wall kicking, turbo rocket and hover nozzling, sewer crawling, spin jumping, and more. Before the player even enters a level, they have so many opportunities to not only try out the controls, but to do so purposefully. There are places to get to and a meaningful increase of efficiency to master these skills in this neutral space. In fact, when new power-ups are to be acquired, such as the turbo nozzle, the rocket nozzle, and Yoshi, instead of simply being granted them, Mario must chase and squirt Shadow Mario as they both run and bounce every which way around the hub. A lot more care went into the layout this time around, and it's apparent from the very first moment spent occupying this space. Of course, we've only just mentioned the geometry above ground. There's a whole sewer system here that can be accessed by ground pounding any manhole cover. Some of these are in nonsensical places, but as a result, they let the player find many different avenues between locations. There are coins both blue and regular, as well as 1-up mushrooms to discover down there as well. Some areas of the underground are only accessible by more hidden manhole covers. What's more, when you jump back to the surface, you go flying high into the air, which can transition to a hover or a dive or whatever you want really to get to even more places. Seriously, there's so much fun to be had just getting around this one area. But there's so much more than just a superficial level design. What pushes this hub from great to exceptional is all the little details and significant items to be found within. So as I said earlier, one of Mario's main objectives is to locate the missing shine sprites. Just like Power Stars in Super Mario 64, the majority of these are contained within the levels themselves, but also like in Super Mario 64, many are hidden within the hub itself. What's more, 30 of the shines in the game must be purchased by trading in 10 blue coins for 1 shine. This is great, because it allows the developers to put more minor rewards all over the place, and create larger levels that still have significance in all of those extra spaces. Delfino Plaza is no exception. Blue coins can be found in hard-to-reach areas by clearing graffiti off walls, sometimes under a time limit, from completing little challenges and even inside birds? How? Now all those little details that add just a bit more life to the hub can also provide a small reward. Any time space in a game world can be justified, it's made better for it. By using this system, Delfino Plaza's 20 blue coins create an equal number of points of interest instead of just 2. But those aren't the only 2 shines in the area. There are 15 additional shines to get tied to this location, plus the final boss's shine for some reason? Some are just there in the plaza themselves, and some are in minigames and one-off levels, much like the castle's secret stars. Ultimately, all these hidden secrets lead to player-motivated exploration in a way that the princess's castle simply didn't. It's not all roses and sunflowers, though. There's plenty that could have been done better in this hub. For example, those bonus levels. They aren't exactly stellar. Not in terms of aesthetic or gameplay. They're like those Dreamworld-style designs that Mario 64 had, but they're on this island for no particular reason. Maybe on their own they aren't so bad, but next to the well-thought-out Isle Delfino's various locations, these are gigantic missed opportunities. They aren't very fun, either. Find 8 red coins and some grass. Turbo nozzle in a straight line at Mach 5. Okay, maybe this one is good. Play Pachinko. This is literally a gamble. Like, in real life, these are gambling machines, and it's just as much luck that you won't die playing this thing. And then there's the lily pad level. Okay, I know every single think piece on Mario Sunshine does talk about this level, but it's my turn to curb stomp it, and I'm not missing out on that. Before you even get there, there's a challenge of getting Yoshi to the island. Now the catch is that Yoshi can't touch the water, or he dies horribly.
Oh my god.
It's actually not that bad of a concept. Find an alternate route while playing the water as lava and Yoshi. Problem is, the path there is both as tedious and frustrating as possible. So you gotta ride these boats that take a million years to get anywhere, and the whole time that you're just standing on them doing absolutely nothing. It takes so long that they put multiple fruit, one of which is just sitting on a platform, spawning infinitely, inexplicably, so that you don't run out of juice just making it there. Not to mention, if you mess up just once on the way there, you have to do it all over again. Okay, now you're in the lily pad level, and it is both somehow impossibly hard and completely uninteresting, with insta-death poison water moving at the speed that those boats should have been going at, while you try to steer a dying lily pad with FLUDD to get yet another 8 red coins in this hub level. Once you inevitably get to the end with, like, 2 coins, you're better off drowning, or skydiving into the eternal void than using the dickbag pipe at the end of the line. At least killing yourself lets you pretend that you have another real shot at this. The warp pipe, on the other hand, just kicks you out of the level so that you can go get Yoshi and count the minutes that you're closer to your own mortal end go by once more. I know I'm complaining a lot about these things, and they really are that bad, but ultimately they are small optional parts in what is otherwise a spectacular hub. Filled with charm and curiosity, level design that sparks creativity, Delfino Plaza is absolutely the pinnacle of this franchise in terms of hub design. And I genuinely think that it is a fantastic example, even by modern standards, on how to create something exceptional. It's a tragedy, then, that this delicious Turkish delight is encased in such mediocre chocolate. For as much as I love it, Super Mario Sunshine is a deeply flawed game. In more ways than are suited for the scope of this video, but there are some problems with the overall design that are so ill-suited for this game that they spill out and corrupt even my beloved Plaza. and we're gonna have to mention those. So, let me begin by explaining how progression in Mario Sunshine works. There are 7 worlds in Sunshine, each with 8 missions. At first, this seems fine. You get to a shine threshold, and a new world is made available, and so on and so forth. The problem is how the final level is accessed. It has nothing to do with how many shines that you have, but rather that you've completed the 7th mission in each stage. This means that the minimum number of shines needed to beat the game is 50, including the tutorial shine gotten at the airstrip. But it's actually not even that. You specifically need shines 1 through 7 in each of those levels and no other ones. This means that all those shines and blue coins strewn so lovingly around the plaza, those mean nothing. The last things unlocked by getting shines happens at 30 as a threshold, which means that the 50 that you're going to be getting between those mandatory missions and the airstrip will get you there on their own. The next reward is at 100% completion, so literally none of those cool collectibles will ultimately amount to anything by the end credits unless you get all of them. Not to mention the other shine sprites or blue coins to be found in the levels themselves. It's so rigid, I'm honestly baffled, but it doesn't stop there. Because the requisite for beating the game is the 7th mission in every single level, they can't be well hidden at all. Sunshine necessitates that every player can easily find the entrance to each of the main levels, or they can't complete the game. In 64, it was entirely possible that some players would completely miss whole worlds because they didn't explore the castle entirely. They might fail to notice things like the missing painting for Snowman's Land or the wall that leads to Shifting Sandland. That was literally not an option for Sunshine's designers. None of this is to say that these design choices are inherently bad, that they would never work in any game. Honestly, in isolation, I rather like the progression of Sunshine's levels. They create an ongoing narrative that progresses with the stages. Save the hotel from the goop. Get rid of the ghosts that are inside it now. Now you get to explore the hotel. How about you visit the casino? Oh no, there's ghosts in the casino. Oh, the goop is back. We better stop the hotel from sinking into it again. Shadow Mario Chase. And finally, now that you're intimately familiar with the layout of the whole level, get 8 rig coins under a time constraint. It's really quite elegant when you put it that way. Not my favorite by any means, but enjoyable. It's just that it doesn't work at all with the space that the player is likely to spend the most time in. I still stand by what I said earlier, that Delfino Plaza is a masterclass in hub design. Just keep in mind that even if you do almost everything right, the game around the hub ultimately determines an incredible amount of the quality of its design. Thanks for listening. Make sure to give the video a like and leave a comment. I love to see discussion and receive feedback on all my content, and it's all the better when it's left by someone as cool as you. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon to know when new vids are hot off the press. I got a Twitter too, the link's down below, and once again, I have a Patreon. Right now, patrons are getting rewards such as access to my workflow, videos early, my bloopers, having their names in my credits, and special thanks for top supporters like the following: Andrew Lumert, Three-Eyed P, Nikolai Carpathia, and Leela the Final. What a collection of beautiful people. The finale on Homeworlds Mario Edition will not be my next video. I have something else planned, but right after that, we'll be back together with this for Mario Galaxy 1. Hope to see you there!